Toyota have just launched the new Land Cruiser 300. And of course, it can go almost everywhere. But what if almost everywhere isn't good enough? Then you might want to look at a GR. So styling-wise, it does look very different. And you'll have to excuse my 1980s microphone over here because we've had some audio problems stuck out here in the middle of nowhere. But the only reason we got to the middle of nowhere is because of this car. And there's some very special details in here that make it capable of getting to places like these. Although the looks might not be to everybody's style, this is not about looks. This is about function over form. And the first thing one notices is that those wheels are exactly 2 inches smaller than the standard ZX 20-inch wheels. I don't really like how they look, but I do like how they perform. They've got a little bit of extra meat on the profile and a lot in the ways of functionality. In front, Toyota have changed the grille to let you know that this is in fact a Toyota, and I think that this is more of a homage to the older Land Cruisers and a way to differentiate the GR from its other, more soft road siblings. Of course, you get lots of GR badging and other highlights, but the big changes come from behind the wheel. The long road. A few hundred kilometers crossed and a few hundred more to go before we reach our destination up the west coast. And this is another side where the Land Cruiser excels. It's able to take you anywhere if those roads are bumpy, hilly, and rocky, and sandy, and muddy, and all of those things. We've got modes for all of those things. But also, it's able to go and cruise at any speed. This one, of course, has the V6 engine, which pushes out 225 kilowatts and a whopping 700 Newton meters of that. Oh yes. In a 4x4, one absolutely has to have good visibility, and thanks to its 4x4 boxy old school shape and large windows, I can see everything around me. It's also got 3 memory settings for the seat, so you could have one for yourself, one for a friend, and one for off-road. Speaking of visibility, those rearview mirrors are gigantic and so big I can even see some of the sky. This car really is geared towards conquering the landscape. I feel like certain components on here are specifically designed to make this car better off-road. This car isn't about show, it's a lot about go. There are a few differences between this and the other models, and the main difference is that this one has an electronic system that disconnects the anti-roll bars on the move. Now, the system on this car is so complex and so clever that it actually disconnects the anti-roll bar when it senses the road surface via the cameras. I didn't even know this technology existed. What this all means is that on bumpy, rutted surfaces, you don't get that typical head swinging motion, but the car actually stays a lot smoother. This is, of course, the flagship model in Toyota's range. Never mind SUV range, this is the top of the food chain when it comes to all Toyotas sold in South Africa, which means they've had to go the whole 9 yards. So you've got leather steering wheel, which is also heated. You've got heated and cooled leather seats. You've got leather on the dashboard. You've got leather on the center console here and pretty much everywhere else. You've also got wooden details and piano black details here and there, and I quite like this wooden trim on the steering wheel over here. Of course, because this is the GR or GRS as Toyota calls it, this has got GR stickers absolutely everywhere. In the middle here, you've got a new 12.3-inch screen with Apple CarPlay and of course Android Auto. Other luxuries include a wonderful JBL sound system, very nice to touch metals. And although the car doesn't have a volume knob, these volume buttons over here feel pretty good. You've also got a refrigerator compartment on the inside center console over here, which is another typical Land Cruiser feature. This car has the 10-speed automatic gearbox, and as I've mentioned many times before, I don't think 10-speed gearboxes work in regular cars. They do, however, work really well in 4x4s such as this one, and thanks to the seamless gear changing, I've also not missed the paddle shift. Fuel consumption is 8.9 liters per 100, and because it's such a big engine, when cruising, those figures are totally possible. I'm pushing on a little bit, so that 8.9 liters, that's not happening right now. Flick this car into sport mode, and there's a definite change in demeanor. It does feel like the engine map changes slightly, and the suspension, possibly anti-roll bars, get stiffened up a little bit. It's nice to know that even in a car like this, those modes make a difference. Definitely the 4x4 modes make a difference, that's for sure. As with most real 4x4s, the front and rear diffs are lockable. That can all be done from inside the car. It's also got a center differential that can be activated. I think I could go on and on about this Land Cruiser and all its multitude of new features. Toyota have listened to their customers and have realized that the typical customer might want a ZX to go to the shops and back and take the occasional trip to the farm. Then there's the other customer that wants a real 4x4 in the old school tradition of the Land Cruiser. And that's what this car is. There isn't that much difference between the two, but for the hardcore enthusiast, this is the one that they want. For everyone else, there's the ZX.